Well, the 23rd edition of South Africa's National Science Festival starts in Makhanda in the Eastern Cape today. This year's theme, Discover Your Element, celebrates the International Year of the Periodic Table of Chemical Elements as proclaimed by the United Nations. The Science Festival is aimed at providing a platform to students across the country by facilitating learning in an informal way and providing learners with a great opportunity to discover science outside the classroom. Leading minds in the science field will also converge to discuss critical issues, impart knowledge and an opportunity to share work as well. So the festival is expected to attract thousands of budding young scientists and science gurus. Let's cross over to our reporter, Jade Lee Polzer, for more. Jade, good morning to you.
Good morning, Leanne, from Makhanda at the National Science Festival. Absolutely very excited about covering this. I'm told in recent years there have been thousands of people, thousands of learners who have flocked to the National Science Festival to also get their taste of all things science, but also learn a thing or two. And I'm actually coming or standing on the periodic table, if Natasha can just show you this. And there's several elements that are on this table. So we're going to be touching on that shortly when I speak to my guest. But I must tell you, and my favorite element on this periodic table must be platinum, for obvious reasons. So yeah, that's one of the ones that stands out for me. But it's rightfully so that you said, Leanne, a lot of learners are going to be flocking to the Science Festival this year just to, speak to science experts, but also find out the different fields of science that you can go into, that you can venture into. Science and mathematics are at the forefront of this, and we've seen the Department of Science and Technology really coming out and saying that learners need to be exposed to all things science, whether it is mathematics or physics, and also the different other elements to the field that we know. But I have a gentleman that knows all about this, and we're going to be chatting to him. That's Mr. Daniel Adams from the Department of Science and Technology, and he's going to be talking about the importance of the Science Festival for all learners across the country. Mr. Daniels, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Let's go right into it. The Science Festival is a 23rd edition. Just in terms of the importance of roping in learners from across the country to come to the Science Festival and learn about science, but also taking it out of the classroom and making it fun for them.
Thank you, Jade, for the opportunity. Yes, this is as you indicated, the 23rd edition of the National Science Festival. It's important for the country to have an event like this because it provides the opportunity for learners, the public, industry, to come to an event like this where they could be made aware of the importance of science, understanding science, engage with science, as well as develop appreciation for science, the importance of science, and actually that science is fun. And also, science is integrated into our everyday life. And all of this together now will the understanding is, and the hope is that the students will, and the learners and the public will be so excited about science that the parents will encourage their kids to invest in subjects like physics and mathematics and chemistry, which are the foundation subjects for a science career. And eventually decided to follow the career in science, therefore going to university and do all different kinds of things within in terms of a science and career. So we see that as the sort of the main focus of this now here. But also that our community is engaged, because there are issues in science that we need to debate and understand now, because not all things are beneficial. There are also dangers in science, the application of science, and therefore we have to engage in understanding, for example, genetically modified foods and all that, crops and that, using of certain fertilizers now here. And if you don't understand the science behind that now, if engage in science, it's difficult to make a judgment whether it's right or wrong now here. But also to understand actually the benefits of science, because our lives, we use cell phones every day. Our cars, we sit in planes, we use automated systems to do certain things for us now here. So science is just everywhere amongst us, and therefore we have to appreciate that. But if we don't have the opportunity to engage with that in a in an intellectual way, but also in a fun way, and where people from different from different fields now present to you the opportunities that is available in science and understanding the science. That provides you opportunity really to make those choices that you want to pursue as a learner or as a parent to help you to make that final decision.
Now, I just want to jump in there, Dr. Adams. I remember in my time, physics and science and mathematics, it was also boring. But it's true what you said, that I want to pull that out of your comment there, that science is all around. It's everywhere. And I think if you look at Makhanda, if we take that as an example, the water crisis here, so it's going to be very interesting to see learners also partaking in critical discussions that are going to be held at the Science Festival. How can we find solutions for our water problem? How can we find boreholes? What technology is used in order to locate different types of boreholes? So that's going to be very interesting. But I also want to ask you, what is your favorite element? And I'm told that there are more elements that have been discovered by the department. Tell us more about that.
Yeah. It's actually that we have the current periodic table, and over the last probably decade or so, a number of new elements have been found, synthesized in laboratories, not necessarily in South Africa, but across the world in big laboratories such in the UK and the US and in Russia. And South Africa is actually fortunate that we have a collaboration between the Joint Nuclear Research Institute in Dubna in Russia, where there's a big laboratory that's actually working on these new elements. So I actually have in my pocket.
Oh, you do? Let's see.
Actually, a key ring now here that has about the last, I think about 6 new elements that has been discovered over the recent years now here. There's one called Moscavian. There's the Tennesseean. There's one called Livermorian, and a number of them.
So how is this going to actually help us, and what is these elements? How are they going to be incorporated in everyday life? Just for the viewers back at home.
These are new elements that developed in the lab. So the properties of these elements have been characterized and will then be mainstream to see how they fit into the broader scheme of the periodic table and the applications around it. My favorite element is probably the one of the common ones, is because we're also celebrating this year the discovery of the phosphorus as an element. And phosphorus is a very interesting element because it is used in fertilizers for the growth of plants. It is important mineral for bone growth and in cell development. As well as, for me, the biggest impact of phosphorus is its application in the silicon chip technology. And silicon chip technology or devices, is what has been driving our computers and our cell phones on all these smart systems now here. And therefore, it's that single element, because silicon itself is a semiconductor, not good electrical properties. But if you mix it with a little bit of phosphorus, then wow, you actually change the electrical properties, and therefore you can then use that as in these smart devices in your computers and your cell phones and other integrated.
So it's very important. But I'm going to try and test out the different exhibitors that are here, and we're going to see what exactly is on display. I'm going to bring that to you in our next crossing, so that we can see what the learners are also doing. It's a lot of fun, a lot of science, and a lot of information all at hand, as you can hear Dr. Daniel Adams speaking about that. But I'm also very excited about the new elements, and hopefully we'll have more elements that, like gold and platinum, that the ladies also back at home love something new. But with that, Leanne, let's go back to an ad break.